Hi, everybody. My name is Gabriela Hidalgo. So, my topic was global agriculture on international trade. Um, Let me see. So, one of my current events was Trump signing the Hong Kong Autonomy Act. So, a little brief overview. So, according to our world and data, agriculture amounts to 50%, not including aquatic food substance of habitable land, with the prime consumption being livestock, which takes about 80% of agricultural land, which 50%, which 50% isn't a lot of agricultural land, and for 80% to be taking that amount in livestock, we do consume a lot of meat, and a lot of food does go to waste, especially in the United States. As you'll see moving forward through the PowerPoint, I'll provide some data where there's charts indicating where the United States is one of the diets where people are the most overweight. They also consume a lot of protein, meats, and the likes. So, if this continues, like looking at the future, um, it will not be sustainable because a lot of the crops um, do not have the resources to continue, such as like proper irrigation systems. There's pollution, contamination of water, lack of machinery, especially like in third world countries. And also in third world countries, a lot of children are exploited. And a lot of these periphery and semi-periphery countries, they are taking advantage of. So, like I said, that's a brief overview, and my current topic will kind of be about the trade and like the trade from export and import, and like big countries like China and India and other countries, of course. So, on the topic of import and export, in current news, Trump has sanctioned China and threatened Beijing for wanting to retaliate due to Trump signing an executive order, the Hong Kong Autonomy Act, earlier this year in July, which ends U.S. preferential treatment for Hong Kong by canceling special privileges, no special economic treatment, and no export of sensitive technologies. So an overlook is like this ultimately enough will jeopardize trade between Hong Kong and the US, shaving off about 10% of Hong Kong's exports, threatening investment possibilities, all leading to an economic fallout that would not only affect Hong Kong but also the US. This information was gathered from CNN, a YouTube video that I watched. And this happened recently in July, where this act was signed, amongst many workers and families who will also suffer the consequences from that being signed. As you could see right here, the U.S. trade with China. China does provide a lot because, like I said before, China is one of the biggest contributors to the U.S. and other countries, of course, in the export and import in trade. So, this friction between China and the US will cause a lot of damage, and it will cause an economic fallout. And just this example alone could also influence other countries. Let me see. And then the larger global issues. So many are affected by agriculture as the world has become more diverse over the years. The reliance of different cuisines has penetrated borders all around the globe. When sanctions and friction begin, the economic stability, among other major issues, begin to follow. There is major food waste, yet agriculture continues to try and keep up with the demand and economic growth through the import and export of goods. Many countries, however, lack the resources to sustain their crops, and thus major countries such as China and India provide the U.S. with profitable trade. But with the current event, since friction has been created between China and the U.S., especially with COVID going around right now, mainland China has also been sanctioned severely. Even airports have been shut down and things like that. So everything has been monitored more closely. And China will also not like the fact that Trump signed that Autonomy Act. Especially in current times with COVID, like I said, which originated in China, discrimination against those of Asian descent began due to globalization and how fast it spreads like wildfire. This virus has impacted China's trade and business affairs, leading to bankruptcy, job loss, death due to the virus, and thus mainland China began facing many international bans and restrictions. This unstable atmosphere between nations, especially with COVID, is of great importance as the trade industry brings about economic growth in one way or another to the various countries across the globe. This was from Campbell 2020, so I got some information from that article. Everything's resourced at the end of the PowerPoint. Agriculture wildlife has also led to a decline in wildlife and food scarcity all across the globe as contamination continues through COVID spread and employment decline, specifically in food producing companies as technological advances continue to replace workers as well. So between a lot of the agricultural land, especially like in factories where a lot of workers work close together, there has been a spike in COVID cases there. There has also been reports of meat being contaminated, foods being recalled, and everything like that. So COVID has affected a lot of the import and export of goods as well. Theoretical explanation. So the world systems theory maintains a constant flow of economic growth between countries such as the export and import of goods, in which developed countries feed off the less developed ones. In this case, global agriculture is much needed in order to maintain that give and take relationship between nations and continue feeding the core nations. Food that cannot be sustained nor produced in one or can be produced in bulk in another or for cheaper is what sources the core nations, and income is generated, also leading to income inequality in the semi-periphery and periphery countries. Some that have suffered the most, it's Sub-Sahara Africa. There is a lot of famine in that country. The crop land is also very unresourced. There's lack of irrigation system, lack of roads, just lack of everything pretty much. So what they do is that there is a lot of exploitation of child workers, even women, and yeah, there is a lot of lack of resources in those countries. Forecasting the future. So within 5 to 10 years, if fair trade is not established and political figures cannot establish agreements, war may ensue. This did happen a lot in the past where where funds weren't being met, or loans that other countries had borrowed weren't being paid, so there was a lot of war. Restrictions there could be restrictions, heavy taxation, and corruption will continue to grow and hurt the global economy and upset the balance within international trade, which food sources that can be created in bulk or for cheap in peripheral countries will inevitably cause scarcity, considering their population of various countries continues to increase as well, and inevitably halting global economic growth. So there has been an increase in birth also due to COVID. It seems that there has also been a lot of pregnancies. So technically, in general, the population does continue to grow. And like I said, the United States is one of the countries that doesn't really monitor its diet well. There is also a lot of food waste where everybody or most of the population tend to serve themselves big portions and literally just throw most of that food away. According to Chi Hung Kwan, on the China-US trade war, in the long run, the world economy is facing the risk of disintegrating into two economic blocs centered on the two major powers, with adverse effects on global economic growth. So in continuation, if fair trade does not happen, children in periphery and semi-periphery countries will continue to be forced into labor and neglect their educational goals, furthering the spread of income inequality as the rise in population continues. In an article written by Ortiz Ospina on child labor, according to the International Labor Organization, states in its latest World Report on Child Labor 2013 that there are around 265 million working children in the world, almost 17% of the worldwide child population. So this sounds pretty astonishing, especially since it is a global issue. And like I said, agriculture is needed so much because we live off of food. So not just meat, but also vegetables, sugar, like everything. And everything needs to be maintained through agriculture or produced through agriculture. According to Finca on world poverty, over 1 billion people live on $2.50 per day or less, including 280 million people in extreme poverty who live on less than $1.25 per day. So as you could see, there is severe poverty, which also means less food for these people and more food for core countries, which, like I said, power is always kept up top and income inequality continues through agriculture, which it could be for cheap in other countries like periphery and semi-periphery countries. If lack of resources such as Roundup, pesticides, proper irrigation system, roads, and technological machinery continue to be scarce in these undeveloped countries, crops will inevitably die, and severe climate change will continue to make these lands inhabitable. And crop obviously will not be able to be planted in those lands. This will mean famine, job loss, and severe dependency, as per dependency theory. According to William Maloney, 2019, productivity in agriculture lacks in South Asia and Sub-Saharan Africa, who rely heavily on agriculture to survive, estimating that severe climate change affects these areas of the world the most, with the rising temperature of 1 to 2 degrees by 2050. The Food and Agriculture Organization estimates a 3 to 10% decline in average global cereal yield for every 1 degree Celsius increased. So also the climate, it has been changing severely. Also, me personally, I did work in the fields for about 6 months, which I could relate to how severe these weathers could get. So in heat weather, it's like you still need to be wearing like long t-shirts, a hat, you need to be covered up from the face, and just everything in general is just very difficult. Also in the winter, it's although you need to use gloves, still your hands get super cold. They get wet from touching fruit or whatever you're touching, and just it's just very sad the condition in which these workers work. Also, agriculture productivity is lower and is growing more slowly in poor countries, impeding their income convergence to the advanced economies. In continuation, so food scarcity and lack of wildlife due to extinction of species and the heavy consumption of meat, the world depends on will be even more scarce if fair trade agreements cannot be made, especially in big countries such as China and India, who provide first world countries with various goods. According to Ritchie in Our World in Data, livestock amounting to 80% of our 50% agricultural land is consumed in excess. So as you could see in the map, so this right here is the U.S. Like even